Beloved chosen one, heaven saw you today. In the very moment you whispered, "I will not give up," the heavens shifted in your favor. Angels paused their flight to behold a mortal who refused to bow to fear. The unseen world leaned closer as your trembling faith became a flame that darkness could not extinguish. You thought no one noticed your quiet endurance, your whispered prayers in the midnight hours, your tears falling where no one saw but heaven noticed. You stood when you could have fallen. You chose light when shadows whispered your name. You believed when logic screamed that belief was foolish, and because of that, something eternal moved. There are moments in the spiritual realm when one human act of courage ripples across eternity, and this was one of them. You may not feel like a hero. The world may have mocked you, misunderstood you, and written you off as weak. But weakness in the world's eyes is strength in heaven's sight. God did not choose you because you were the loudest or the strongest. He chose you because you were faithful in silence. You carried burdens without applause, and heaven took note. The enemy had watched you closely, waiting for the moment your spirit would fracture. He designed attacks, distractions, and despair to silence your voice. Yet when you lifted your eyes and whispered, "Lord, I still trust you," the strategies of darkness fell apart. Every demonic whisper lost its grip because courage is a language hell cannot interpret. Chosen one, your courage today was not ordinary. It was divine defiance. It was the echo of heaven's heartbeat through human flesh. You are not surviving, you are standing in victory. Even when the battlefield still smokes around you, you are walking proof that God still breathes strength into fragile vessels. It is written in the book of Isaiah, chapter 41, verse 10. "Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. Yes, I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." That promise was not ancient history, it is your present reality. Heaven's right hand holds you even now. You have not been forgotten, not for a single heartbeat. Every trembling moment of faith was seen, recorded, and rewarded. The same hand that steadied prophets and lifted kings now steadies you. Listen, heaven whispers your name in awe. You are not the one who broke under pressure. You are the one who broke the chains of fear by refusing to quit. You turned pain into prophecy. The very thing that tried to bury you became the soil that grew your strength. Heaven is not silent about your courage. Heaven is celebrating it. Do you feel that quiet stillness? That is the peace of God surrounding you like armor. The atmosphere has changed. The attacks that once drained you have lost their authority. Every fiery dart of discouragement is now ash beneath your feet. You have stepped into a divine reversal where what was meant to harm you now serves to highlight your anointing. The same heaven that watched your pain is now broadcasting your breakthrough. Angels have recorded this day as the day you stood your ground. The scroll of your destiny has turned a page. Heaven's courtroom has declared the attacks have lost their power. So breathe again. Lift your head high. You are seen, you are chosen, and you are celebrated by the one who never forgets. There is no wasted tear, no unseen act of obedience, no silent moment of faith that does not echo in eternity. Your courage has been acknowledged by the throne itself. And now, chosen one. If these words have stirred your spirit, if you feel the truth of heaven burning within you, then pause right here. Like this message. Share it so others may remember their courage, and subscribe so you will not miss the next word that heaven releases for the chosen ones. Comment 777 below as a prophetic act declaring that divine completion, divine perfection, and divine protection surround your life from this moment forward. You are not forgotten. You are not unseen. You are the one heaven noticed today. Chosen one. There are wars no one hears, battles fought in silence. in the corners of your mind where the loudest voice is doubt and the quietest whisper is hope. You have walked through nights when your own breath sounded heavy with sorrow, when your prayers seemed to fall flat against a ceiling of silence. Yet heaven never missed a moment of it. Every sigh was a signal. Every tear was translated into divine language. Every trembling God, help me, became a sacred echo that reached the throne. You thought you were breaking down, but you were being broken open into purpose, into faith, into fire. The silent battles are not proof of your weakness. They are proof that your spirit carries weight in the unseen world. The enemy does not waste his weapons on the empty. He attacks what carries promise. And that's why the pressure has been relentless, because your life bears evidence of heaven's design. There are things you endured that no one would believe. Smiles you wore while your heart was fractured. Duties you fulfilled while carrying invisible wounds. You showed up when your soul wanted to disappear. You forgave when bitterness offered an easier escape. You kept loving even when love was not returned. Heaven calls that kind of endurance holy. It is not loud or glittering, but it shakes the foundations of darkness. You must understand, silence is not absence. Heaven's quiet was never indifference, it was observation. God has been documenting your faith in places where applause could not reach. Angels stood guard while you whispered prayers into the dark, marking each one as evidence of loyalty. The King himself heard you and said, "This one belongs to me." The Spirit spoke through the writings of David in the Psalms, chapter 56, verse 8. You keep track of all my sorrows. You have collected all my tears in your bottle. You have recorded each one in your book. Every tear, chosen one. Not a single drop lost to the floor without heaven's acknowledgement. You think they were forgotten, but in the courts of eternity, they glitter like jewels, proof of perseverance, proof of devotion, proof of love that refused to die. The tear that slid down your cheek on that lonely night was a declaration of faith stronger than any sermon. You did not just survive that season, you worshiped through it. And now, heaven is moving in response to your silent faithfulness. There are blessings being aligned, divine reversals being prepared, all because you refused to collapse when pain pressed too hard. The same place that felt like a grave will soon become a garden. The same silence that once tormented you will become the sacred space where revelation speaks. Look closely, God was not absent in your silence. He was shaping you there. He was teaching you how to listen beyond the noise. When the crowd disappeared, his voice became clear. When every human comfort was stripped away, divine comfort became tangible. You were learning heaven's language, stillness. There is something holy about stillness. It confuses the enemy because he expects reaction, panic, and collapse. But when you stand still and trust, the enemy trembles. For you have discovered that silence is not defeat, it is strategy. Stillness is the secret weapon of the chosen. And now, because of those silent battles, your discernment has sharpened. You see through deception faster. You sense shifts in the spirit before others notice. You recognize peace not as the absence of war, but as the presence of God amid it. The tears that once blurred your vision have washed your spiritual eyes clear. Beloved, you are no longer the same person who began this journey. The nights changed you. The loneliness refined you. The heartbreak consecrated you. And the silence, though painful, birthed something powerful: authority. You now carry the authority of one who has seen God in the dark and lived to tell the story. So, when you walk into rooms now, light walks with you. When you speak, heaven echoes. When you pray, hell trembles. You don't need to announce your strength, your presence declares it. You have become a walking testimony that faith does not die in silence, it matures there. Never despise the quiet seasons again. They are not punishment, they are preparation. They are the forge where warriors are made, prophets are refined, and leaders are molded. The silence you once feared has now become your sanctuary. And though the world will never know all that you have endured, heaven will. The records are eternal, sealed by the very hand of God. You may have fought in silence, but you will be rewarded in song. Your silent battle was never unseen, it was sacred. And because you stayed faithful there, heaven's melody is beginning to rise around you, one note at a time, carrying the proof of every tear you shed in faith. Chosen one, there is something the enemy did not expect: your endurance. He anticipated your collapse, not your courage. He orchestrated storms designed to exhaust you, words meant to pierce you, delays crafted to break you. But instead of destruction, heaven witnessed your determination. Every time you rose again, darkness lost alignment. Every time you refused bitterness, demonic ranks lost structure. What was meant to crush you has now become the weapon that crushes them. Do you understand the magnitude of that? Every attack has lost its coordination because you remained steadfast. The plans once drawn up against you are now in chaos. The moment you chose not to fight with flesh and blood, but with faith, the spiritual blueprint of your enemies shattered. Their arrows missed, their confusion multiplied, their leader panicked. Hell operates by prediction, it studies patterns, wounds, fears. But you, chosen one, broke your pattern. You didn't react with rage, you responded with prayer. You didn't chase revenge, you chose worship. You didn't complain, you confessed the promises of God. That unpredictable obedience disarmed everything sent against you. It is written in the book of Isaiah, chapter 54, verse 17. No weapon that is formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue that shall rise against you in judgment you shall condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord, and their righteousness is of me, says the Lord. That is not a poetic wish. It is a legal decree. Heaven recognizes it, hell fears it, and you now embody it. Every weapon, whether visible or invisible, spiritual or emotional, forged in the fires of hatred, has lost its power. The more you trust, the weaker those weapons become. You may still feel the echo of past attacks, the lingering weight of words, the ghost of betrayal, the residue of fear, but those are only shadows. They cannot touch you now. The power that once held them together has been dissolved by divine light. You are walking through a battlefield where your enemies no longer stand. They have fled at the sound of your endurance. There were moments you thought the warfare was endless. You wondered, why does the pressure never stop? But the truth is this: the enemy's final weapon is illusion. Once his real weapons fail, he creates fear through memory. He tries to make you relive what no longer exists. But light has exposed him, and exposure is defeat. You didn't realize it, but when you worshipped in your weakness, you shifted spiritual geography. Angels began to move where demons once gathered. The atmosphere changed. The enemy that once prowled around you now wanders without authority. The hand of God has drawn a line that cannot be crossed. Chosen one, when you stood firm, heaven declared, enough. The assaults that once reached you are now intercepted by divine command. You are covered. The season of constant warfare is ending, and a season of established peace is emerging. It is not the absence of battle, it is dominion within it. You have become untouchable because your faith has become unshakable. This is what heaven saw today: not perfection, but perseverance. Not flawless victory, but fearless faith. You stood your ground, and now every demon knows your name not as prey, but as proof that light still wins, proof that grace still covers, proof that heaven still intervenes. There is a holy authority rising within you. You can feel it, a calm strength that wasn't there before, a steady fire in your soul. That's what remains when every attack loses its power. That's what grows when endurance meets anointing. And now, let your heart rest. You are no longer under siege. You are standing in divine territory reclaimed through persistence. Every lie that once defined you has been erased. Every curse once spoken against you has returned to its sender. Every shadow that haunted you has been replaced with light. Heaven has rewritten your atmosphere, and your name has become a declaration of victory. Wherever you go next, that same authority will follow you. Doors will open not because you demand them, but because heaven recognizes you as one who cannot be defeated. And now, as a prophetic act, I want you to type these words below light winds. Type it not just as a comment, but as a declaration. Light winds means every dark moment you endured has now served the light. It means every plot that rose against you has been reversed. It means you acknowledge heaven's verdict. Victory is final. Your words are not digital noise, they are agreement with what heaven already proclaimed. So type it, declare it, and believe it. Light wins. Chosen one. There was a moment you didn't break, and that single moment altered eternity. You may not remember it clearly. It was just one heartbeat, one breath, one trembling decision to keep standing when everything in you wanted to fall. That was the moment heaven marked you. Angels gathered close as if watching a sacred drama unfold. You thought it was ordinary endurance, but in the courts of heaven, it was a divine announcement. This one still believes. There are countless souls who crumble under lesser weights, yet you, fragile and weary as you felt, refused to yield. It wasn't strength that carried you. It was divine intervention disguised as courage. Heaven saw that flicker in your spirit and fanned it into flame. The moment you didn't break became the moment hell lost its claim. Sometimes, chosen one, faith doesn't look triumphant. It doesn't always roar like thunder or shine like fire. Sometimes faith is a quiet whisper through tears, a half-spoken "I still trust you" between gasps of pain. That whisper, though small, echoes across eternity louder than 1,000 sermons. You thought your silence was weakness, but it was worship. In that sacred instant, something in you refused to die. The disappointment didn't drown you. The heartbreak didn't consume you, and the betrayal didn't define you. When you could have surrendered to despair, you clung to a promise you barely understood. That is courage in its purest form, not the absence of pain, but the presence of faith when pain speaks loudest. The Apostle Paul reminds us in his letter to the Galatians, chapter 6, verse 9, "And let us not grow weary while doing good, for in due season we shall reap, if we do not lose heart." Heaven remembered that verse when you nearly gave up. The words were written long before you were born, yet today they breathe through you. You are the living embodiment of divine endurance. You did not lose heart. You pressed forward when the night stretched long and the answers never came. And now, heaven's timing due season has arrived. There is something sacred about that moment of almost breaking. It refines the soul in ways comfort never could. It burns away illusion, pride, and fear, leaving only raw surrender. When you reached that point, when your tears ran out and words failed, the Spirit interceded for you. Heaven filled the silence with strength too deep for language. God does not waste those moments. They become the foundation of your authority. Every time you resisted collapse, you built spiritual weight. The enemy recognizes it now. He no longer sees you as vulnerable prey, but as a fortified vessel of endurance. There's a holy resilience around you, a glow invisible to human eyes but terrifying to darkness. Do you realize that moment when you didn't break is why others will rise? Your testimony will become a map for those still in their valleys. Your story, written in scars and silence, will remind them that strength is not loud, it's loyal. You have carried more than most could bear, yet you still radiate grace. That is not human willpower. That is divine partnership. Chosen one. The heavens rejoiced when you made that choice to keep breathing, to keep walking, to keep believing. It wasn't a grand miracle moment. It was a divine whisper saying, "Stay." You listened. And because you did, heaven began to rewrite your narrative. Now you are entering the reaping season. Paul spoke of the season when every seed planted in pain blooms into purpose. Every prayer uttered through tears becomes a harvest of peace. Every act of faith sown in silence yields visible fruit. You have crossed from surviving to reigning, from enduring to establishing. And though storms may still circle, their thunder no longer frightens you. You have felt worse and stood through it. You have cried harder and kept walking. You have been abandoned and yet never alone. That is why heaven trusts you with more now. You've proven faithful under fire. So breathe. Chosen one, let gratitude replace exhaustion. The weight you feel now is not pressure, it's power. The same force that held you together through the breaking is now expanding within you. You are no longer trying to survive the storm, you are learning to command it. Heaven saw that single moment when you refused to fall apart, and it became your coronation. You didn't even realize it then, but that moment crowned you with perseverance, clothed you in unseen glory. Now, everything that rises against you must reckon with that decision. You didn't break, you became unbreakable. Chosen one. Heaven has kept records, every sigh, every prayer, every moment of endurance etched into the eternal archives of glory. Nothing you have faced has been ignored. Nothing you have suffered has vanished into silence. When you stood in faith amid chaos, heaven's courtroom was not still, it was recording. Every act of obedience, every whispered yes, every tear you released in trust became divine evidence against the accuser who said you would quit. In the realm unseen, scrolls are opened. Angels bear witness to stories written not with ink, but with perseverance. You are one of those stories. You are a living testimony that grace works, that mercy defends, that faith still prevails. Heaven has declared it. This one belongs to the kingdom. The prophet Daniel wrote of a vision where the throne of the Ancient of Days was set in blazing fire, and judgment began. It is described in the book of Daniel, chapter 7, verse 10. A river of fire was flowing, coming out from before him. Thousands upon thousands attended him. 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The court was seated and the books were opened. And one of those books, imagine this, contains your story. Pages filled not with defeat but with defiance. Written between lines of pain and hope are the moments heaven calls sacred, when you forgave the one who broke you, when you prayed for those who cursed you, when you gave even though you lacked. Those records speak louder than accusations. You are not forgotten in some distant ledger of heaven. Your life is engraved in light. Every sacrifice has been preserved like precious ink on parchment older than time. And heaven is not done writing. There are still blank pages waiting for your next act of obedience, your next brave choice to love, your next refusal to yield to fear. Picture it this way: every time you choose to rise again, another page turns. Every time you trust, another word is written in gold. Every time you forgive, the ink glows brighter. And when you worship through the pain, the pages themselves tremble with divine energy. You are a living scripture still being written by the hand of God. Chosen one, the enemy thought he could erase your story. He tried to stain it with shame and failure, to convince you that your past made you disqualified. But grace is not afraid of ink stains. It rewrites them into redemption. The fire of heaven is the light under which your new chapter is written. Now listen closely. You are no longer on trial. You are being crowned. The accusations have been silenced because the evidence speaks louder, the evidence of your endurance, your compassion, your quiet worship. Heaven's gavel has struck, and the verdict has been rendered innocent, redeemed, chosen. So when you feel unworthy, remember the courtroom of heaven where angels stand in awe of your resilience. When you feel unseen, picture the book of remembrance being opened before the throne. When you feel like your prayers vanish, know that they are documented, treasured, eternalized. And if this message has stirred something deep in your soul, if it reminds you that your life carries eternal weight, let this moment be your response of gratitude. Like the pouring of oil over sacred fire, every act of support keeps this flame alive. When you like, it's as if you add another spark of light to heaven's record. When you share, it's as though you pass the torch so another weary soul may find warmth. When you subscribe, you are saying to the heavens, I will return to the well of living words. And if you donate, not out of pressure but out of purpose, imagine it as offering incense before the throne, a fragrant gesture saying, I believe in what heaven is speaking here. It's not about money, it's about meaning. Your support becomes a bridge through which these words reach hearts that still think they've been forgotten. The scroll of your destiny continues to unfold, and heaven invites you to keep writing with your faith, your courage, and your generosity. Every gesture of love is ink in the hand of God. You are not a forgotten line in history, you are a divine sentence still being spoken. The court of heaven stands in reverence as your story is read aloud. Line by line, miracle by miracle. And heaven smiles, saying, keep writing, beloved one. The story is far from over. Chosen one, obedience has a sound in the spirit. It is not loud or glamorous, it is steady, like the rhythm of a heart that refuses to stop beating. Heaven moves when you say yes, not just in words, but in action, in surrender, in choosing the harder right over the easier wrong. Every time you obey the whisper of God, a chain breaks somewhere unseen. Every yes to heaven creates a ripple that moves through realms you cannot see. There are times when obedience feels small. You forgive. You stay silent. You walk away from what once made you feel safe. You give even when it hurts. But what you do not realize is that those quiet obediences shake spiritual kingdoms. Heaven calls it the sound of alignment. The universe adjusts itself when a chosen one says, yes, Lord. Your obedience today is still echoing from decisions you made long ago. Remember when you turned down that opportunity that didn't feel right, though everyone else said it was perfect. Remember when you prayed for someone who betrayed you. Remember when you stayed faithful while doors kept closing. None of that was wasted. Every act of obedience was like throwing a stone into a still lake. The ripples keep spreading. It may not always bring instant reward, but it always brings eternal impact. Because obedience is heaven's favorite weapon. It dismantles curses, it confuses demons, it rearranges destiny. When you obey, you cooperate with divine timing, and heaven orchestrates outcomes beyond your imagination. Heaven speaks clearly through the words in the first book of Samuel, chapter 15, verse 22. To obey is better than sacrifice, and to heed is better than the fat of rams. That ancient sentence carries eternal weight. God is not moved by outward offerings as much as by inward surrender. He delights in hearts that trust him enough to follow even when the path is foggy. The world praises results, but heaven praises response. Your yes is sacred currency in eternity. And your obedience, chosen one, has already begun to affect others. You may not see it, but your yes has inspired courage in someone else's spirit. When you stayed faithful, someone watching quietly found hope. When you turned away from darkness, someone near you realized light was possible. Heaven doesn't waste your example, it multiplies it. There are angels assigned to deliver blessings triggered by your obedience, like waves rushing to shore. Divine provision begins to move toward those who walk in faith. Sometimes you think you're walking alone, but in truth you are being followed by unseen goodness. The tide of heaven always follows the sound of obedience. The enemy knows this, which is why he tries to drown that sound with confusion and fear. He whispers, "It's too late, it's too hard," or "It doesn't matter." But he lies because he fears your next yes. He knows that one more obedient act could topple his plans entirely. You carry within you the power to dismantle generations of pain through one choice of faithfulness. That's why your obedience is celebrated in heaven today. Angels have marked this day as another turning point, another moment when a chosen one said, "Not my will, but yours be done." The light that flows from such a moment blinds the darkness that once surrounded you. Beloved, this is not a season for hesitation. It is a season for movement, sacred, steady, courageous movement. You are not being asked to understand everything, only to trust. The path may seem narrow, but it leads to abundance. The command may seem small, but it opens vast doors. Heaven has already begun releasing what was delayed because of your obedience. Things that once resisted you are yielding now. Places where you once faced closed doors are softening. The shift is not accidental. It's the result of spiritual alignment. You moved, so heaven could move with you. Move. And now, as a prophetic act of agreement with what heaven is doing, type 444 in the comments below. Why 4444? Because it symbolizes divine order and angelic movement. It represents the alignment of heaven's will with your obedience on earth. When you type it, you're not just entering numbers, you're declaring that you will walk in sync with heaven's rhythm. You're saying, "My steps are ordered, my heart is aligned, my yes remains firm." The ripples of obedience are still spreading. Chosen one, they will touch places you'll never visit, bless people you'll never meet, and unlock doors you didn't even know existed. Your obedience is not just your strength, it's heaven's melody echoing through you. Keep saying yes. The ripple is still growing. Chosen one, can you feel it? The weight that once wrapped around your spirit is starting to loosen. The invisible chains that clung to your soul are falling away, one link at a time. What bound your ancestors, what haunted your bloodline, what whispered that you would never be free has lost its power. Your courage, your faith, your obedience have become divine fire that melts every shackle. There are moments when you do not notice freedom arriving because it enters quietly. It begins as peace in the middle of what used to cause panic. It appears as calm where chaos once ruled. Heaven does not always break chains with noise, it sometimes breaks them with stillness. You have been walking through spiritual fields littered with invisible snares. Cycles of fear, shame, addiction, rejection, and each step of faith has been snapping them. Every time you chose forgiveness over resentment, a chain broke. Every time you blessed those who cursed you, another link shattered. Every time you chose truth over comfort, and the iron weakened. You have been unchaining generations without even realizing it. It is easy to think deliverance looks dramatic, A loud cry, a flash of light, an instant miracle. But often, deliverance is quieter than that. It is the gradual lightening of your spirit as burdens lose their claim. It is the sound of freedom humming in the background of ordinary days. You wake up and realize the fear that used to grip you is gone. The anger that once ruled you is silent. The guilt that once stalked you has dissolved into grace. That is freedom, gentle, real, permanent. Your freedom is not accidental. It is the fruit of divine warfare fought on your behalf. Angels stood watch as you resisted temptation, as you cried out to heaven, as you refused to let bitterness rewrite your story. They guarded the threshold of your destiny until the day the last chain snapped. And now, here you stand free, scarred but shining, trembling but triumphant. It is written in the Gospel of John, chapter 8, verse 36. So if the Son sets you free, you will be free indeed. That verse is more than comfort. It is confirmation. Freedom is not a feeling. It is a fact written into your spiritual DNA. The Son has declared it over you, and heaven has sealed it. What once controlled you no longer has permission. The voice of shame that echoes from the past cannot command you anymore. The spiritual residue of old wounds cannot reattach to you. You are free indeed. Chosen one, understand this: the chains were never stronger than your purpose. They only existed to remind you of the strength required to break them. Every battle you faced was an invitation to discover the strength you carried all along. The cage was never built to contain you, it was built to reveal the wings you didn't know you had. Now that freedom has come, walk differently. You no longer need to fight battles that have already been won. You no longer owe explanations to those who misunderstood your growth. You do not have to shrink to make others comfortable. Freedom means you rise unapologetically, carrying the light that once terrified your enemies. There will be moments when the old chains rattle in memory. Don't mistake that for relapse. It's just the echo of things that used to bind you. Powerless ghosts of what you've already overcome. You owe them no attention. Freedom demands focus. Look ahead, not back. And as you walk forward, you will feel it, a new rhythm inside you, a divine pulse of liberty. Heaven has written a new sound into your soul, and it's called peace. You move differently now, lighter, clearer, more radiant. This is not the end of your deliverance story. It is the beginning of your reign. Freedom is not just escape, it is authority. You have inherited the right to break chains for others. Every chain you shattered becomes a key for someone else's prison. Every scar becomes a signpost for someone lost in darkness. The same hands that were once bound now carry the light of release. The same voice that once trembled now speaks liberation. You are heaven's evidence that freedom is real. The chains have snapped, chosen ones, and the sound they made that was heaven's applause. Chosen one. There was a night when you spoke light into darkness without even realizing it. The air was heavy, the silence thick, and despair lingered like smoke. Yet something inside you refused to bow. You opened your mouth, trembling, and spoke not from confidence but from conviction. You said words that carried fire, words heaven had been waiting to hear. And though you couldn't see it, those words tore through the unseen realm like lightning splitting a storm. Heaven treasures every declaration born in the midst of fear. When you spoke faith while surrounded by uncertainty, when you declared peace while chaos roared, when you proclaimed hope though tears blurred your vision, those were not ordinary words. They were swords. They were sound waves of deliverance wrapped in breath and belief. The darkness recognized the sound of authority and began to retreat. Your voice has always held power, but in that moment it became a divine instrument. You didn't shout. You simply aligned your words with heaven's truth, and alignment is the language of miracles. Even whispers carry force when heaven stands behind them. That night, as you spoke, the unseen trembled. The Apostle Paul once wrote that light itself was born through a command. It is revealed in the second letter to the Corinthians, chapter 4, verse 6. For God, who said, "Let light shine out of darkness," made his light shine in our hearts to give us the light of the knowledge of God's glory displayed in the face of Christ. When you spoke, you mirrored the Creator. Your words joined the same ancient rhythm that first shaped the cosmos. The same power that summoned galaxies now flowed through your obedience. That is why darkness cannot withstand your declarations. It remembers the sound of its first defeat, and that sound echoes through you. Many think words are fragile, but heaven knows otherwise. Words are seeds, and every sentence planted in faith takes root in eternity. Long after your voice falls silent, your declarations continue to move. They travel through time, breaking chains you'll never see, bringing healing to hearts you'll never meet. Your words live beyond you. When you said, "I forgive," the walls that trapped your peace began to crumble. When you whispered, "I believe," the ground beneath despair cracked open. When you murmured, "God is still good," while standing in ashes, you opened portals of restoration. Every syllable became light, and light always finds its way. Do you remember the first time you dared to speak differently, when you stopped rehearsing your pain and started prophesying your promise? That shift wasn't random, it was resurrection. Heaven had been waiting for you to change your language, because language shapes atmosphere. The tongue can set worlds on fire or call heaven to earth. And you chose the latter. You didn't just talk, you created. You built altars with words, carved pathways for angels to move. Every time you spoke hope into despair, your breath carried divine energy, constructing bridges between your current struggle and your coming victory. The enemy understands this far too well. That's why he attacked your voice through doubt, shame, and fear. He wanted you silent because silence halts creation. He wanted you to feel unworthy to speak, because the moment you open your mouth in faith, his dominion collapses, but heaven defended your right to speak, for your voice is part of the divine orchestra that restores the world. Now, the same voice that once cried out in pain has become a weapon of healing. You no longer speak from brokenness, but from authority. Your tone carries peace. Your words carry deliverance. When you speak, the atmosphere listens. Do not underestimate what flows from you, chosen one. You are not just speaking, you are commanding light to move. When you bless, heaven multiplies it. When you declare, angels act. When you speak against fear, darkness flees. Your voice is the echo of divine will. So speak again, even in whispers. Speak in your home, in your car. In your quiet moments, let the sound of light never cease. Declare goodness until the air itself changes. Proclaim healing until your surroundings vibrate with peace. Speak life until death's residue evaporates. For your words are not mere air. They are fire wrapped in grace. They are sound waves carrying glory. They are heaven's response to earth's need. And every time you open your mouth with faith, the darkness remembers its defeat and flees once more. The world around you shifts when you speak light. Keep speaking, chosen one. The dawn is listening. Chosen one, the greatest battlefield you have ever faced was not in the world around you, it was within your own mind. The invisible war between truth and lies, between peace and fear, between destiny and doubt. It is there that the fiercest fights are waged, because the enemy knows if he can control your thoughts, he can influence your future. But heaven also knows that once your mind is renewed, No darkness can touch you again. You have felt it, the tug of war inside your thoughts. One moment faith burns bright, the next, shadows whisper failure. You wake determined, only for anxiety to ambush your peace. The battle of the mind is not evidence of weakness, it is proof of worth. The enemy does not invest energy into what has no power. He attacks your thoughts because your mind is the gateway of creation, the birthplace of destiny. When God wanted to change a generation, He changed how His people thought. Transformation always begins in the mind. That's why your renewal is not optional, it's essential. The most dangerous prison is not made of walls. It is built from beliefs that say, I can't, I'm not enough, or it's too late. But heaven has issued your release papers, and they read one word: freedom. It is revealed in the book of Romans, chapter 12, verse 2. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, His good, pleasing, and perfect will. When your thoughts begin to align with heaven's truth, transformation becomes inevitable. Renewal does not happen in a flash. It happens one thought at a time. Each time you reject a lie and replace it with truth, a new neuron fires, a new pathway forms, a new life begins. Heaven rewires what hell once infected. There were seasons you doubted your own worth. You replayed past mistakes like broken records. You believed the lies that said you would never overcome. But look at you now, still standing, still believing, still learning to guard your mind like sacred ground. The thoughts that once dominated you now tremble before you. You are reclaiming territory thought by thought. Understand this, your mind is not your enemy, it is your temple. What you allow inside shapes what is built within. That is why heaven keeps whispering. Protect your peace, filter your focus, feed your faith. The enemy cannot control what you refuse to entertain. When you discipline your thoughts, you disarm your demons. You have learned to recognize the difference between God's voice and the noise of fear. God's voice builds, fear's voice breaks. God's voice calms, fear's voice confuses. God's voice aligns, fear's voice divides. Every time you pause and listen for the still small whisper, you invite clarity. Every time you refuse the chaos, you create peace. The battlefield of your mind is sacred because it is where revelation is born. You don't just think differently, you see differently. What once looked like loss now looks like preparation. What once felt like rejection now reveals protection. The renewing of your mind gives you heaven's perspective on earthly pain. Chosen one, you are learning the rhythm of renewal. You no longer let every thought sit unchallenged. You have become a gatekeeper of your own peace. You test what enters and only allow what aligns with truth. That is spiritual maturity, knowing that not every thought deserves residence. And now, heaven applauds the progress you can't yet see. The war inside your thoughts is losing power. Every anxious loop is being replaced with divine reasoning. Every fearful projection is being rewritten by faith. You are not losing your mind. You are regaining it. Do not despise the slow transformation. Every renewed thought is a seed. Every moment of peace is proof that the garden is growing. The gardener of heaven himself tends to your mind, pruning what hinders, watering what heals. So now, as a sign of agreement with what heaven is doing within you, type these 3 words below: I choose peace. Type it not as an empty phrase, but as a declaration, a command to your thoughts. When you write those words, you silence the noise that tried to own you. You remind your spirit that peace is not a mood, it is your inheritance. You choose to think higher, to live freer, to let heaven be your thought pattern. You have won many battles. Chosen one, but this victory, the one inside your mind, is the most important of all. For once your mind bows to truth, every other part of your life will follow. Chosen one, heaven is not silent about you. Right now, in the realms beyond sight, there is applause echoing through eternity. Angels are celebrating not because you have done everything perfectly, but because you never stopped moving. Your perseverance is a melody, and heaven is dancing to its rhythm. You stood when storms pressed in. You prayed when silence stretched too long. You carried faith through deserts that swallowed many. And now, heaven's applause resounds. It's a sound not of performance, but of presence. God's eyes are on you, and His delight is unmistakable. You have become living proof that endurance is worship. When you refused to let bitterness steal your praise, heaven rose to its feet. When you kept believing through disappointment, the very walls of glory vibrated with approval. The ancient writer to the Hebrews once spoke of this unseen audience. It is written in the letter to the Hebrews, chapter 12, verse 1. Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles, and let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us. You, chosen one, are being cheered on by generations of faith. The witnesses who ran before you are not far. They watch, they whisper, they rejoice. They see you continuing the race they began. Your courage strengthens their legacy, and their testimony strengthens your steps. The circle of faith is unbroken because of you. Heaven's applause is not thunderous for spectacle, it's personal. It reaches your soul like warmth in winter. You can almost feel it in your chest when peace suddenly replaces panic. That's heaven's applause touching your heart. It doesn't sound like noise, it feels like calm. It doesn't shout, it embraces. But do you know what magnifies that sound? Gratitude. Every time you give thanks, you echo heaven's joy back to the throne. Every whisper of thank you, Lord, is a harmony line in heaven's song. Your gratitude keeps the music alive. And sometimes that gratitude wants to move, it wants to reach beyond words. When you share these messages, you're not just sending videos, you're sending hope to someone standing where you once stood. It's like lighting a lantern on a dark path and leaving it for the next traveler. When you like or comment, you're not chasing algorithms, you're joining a chorus, letting heaven know, I hear you. I receive it. I agree. When you subscribe, it's not about following a channel. It's about choosing to stay connected to the well that refreshes you. It says, I will return to this flow of living water whenever my spirit feels dry. That simple act becomes a thread in the fabric of divine community, a gathering of chosen ones who listen together for heaven's heartbeat. And if you feel led to donate, do it not as a transaction but as an act of worship. See it as planting a tree in spiritual soil. You may never sit in its shade, but someone weary and wandering will. Your seed becomes sanctuary. Every offering poured into this work keeps the light burning, keeps the words flowing, keeps the message reaching souls who think heaven has forgotten them. It is not about money, it's about mission. When you sow, you join the chorus of angels saying, this flame must not go out. And heaven, generous beyond measure, never lets generosity return empty. You give into light, and light gives back. Imagine it, your gift becomes a ripple. Somewhere, someone crying in the dark will stumble across this very message, feel seen, and choose life again. That's not coincidence, it's legacy. You may never meet them, but heaven will let you know one day that your act of kindness helped rescue a soul. Chosen one. Heaven's applause is not just for your endurance, it's for your heart. You keep believing, giving, hoping, sharing, not for recognition, but because something in you refuses to let the flame die. And that, more than anything, makes heaven sing. So stand in that invisible ovation. Breathe it in. Feel the warmth of heaven's hands clapping around you. You are not a forgotten servant, you are a celebrated vessel. Every choice to keep shining has filled heaven's courts with melody. Heaven is applauding, and its echo will follow you wherever you go. Chosen one. There are moments in heaven when the wind itself seems to carry names, yours among them. You may not hear it with your ears, but the Spirit knows when it happens. A sudden peace falls. A strange warmth passes through you. The air feels alive, as though creation itself remembers who you are. That is heaven whispering your name before the throne. Your name is not a random sound. It is a divine signature written long before you drew your first breath. When heaven speaks it, it's not just identifying you, it's affirming purpose, reminding eternity that you still carry destiny. Every syllable of your name has weight. It carries prophecy, assignment, legacy. When God calls your name, He's not describing you. He's summoning what He placed in you. There are winds in heaven that move according to remembrance. When they blow, they carry prayers once spoken, promises once made, and the fragrance of devotion. Your name travels on those winds, reaching the throne like incense. Every time you choose faith over fear, the wind rises. Every time you forgive, it strengthens. Every act of mercy becomes another gust of divine remembrance. Heaven has not forgotten you. You are not a file misplaced among countless souls. The Father remembers. The Son intercedes. The Spirit breathes your name like music between dimensions. You are known fully, loved completely, and remembered continually. It is revealed in the book of Revelation, chapter 3, verse 5. The one who is victorious will, like them, be dressed in white. I will never blot out the name of that person from the book of life, but will acknowledge that name before my Father and His angels. Those are not symbolic words, they are reality. Heaven acknowledges you by name. The courts of glory have heard it spoken, not as a label but as a declaration of victory. The one who endured is recorded as overcomer. The one who believed through pain is written in radiant letters. Chosen one. You have no idea how often your name has been spoken in heaven. When you wept, the Son whispered it with compassion. When you prayed, the Spirit echoed it in perfect translation. When you fell but got back up, the Father said it with pride. Each time your name rises from the throne room, waves of favor follow on earth. What you feel is sudden grace, sudden peace, sudden joy. It's heaven remembering you aloud. There are winds of remembrance swirling even now. They move like unseen rivers, touching moments you thought forgotten. Prayers you prayed years ago are being carried upward again, not because you repeated them, but because heaven's wind never forgets the sound of sincere faith. Nothing uttered in truth ever disappears. It circulates until fulfilled. Sometimes you feel that tug, the strange stirring that reminds you of an old dream, a forgotten calling. That's heaven bringing your name into focus again. You may think those promises expired, but heaven has no expiration date. The wind is carrying them back to the forefront, ready to unfold them at their appointed time. Your name is a melody, and God knows every note. He hums it over you when you sleep. He speaks it in storms to still the chaos. He writes it in light when darkness dares approach. You are not anonymous in the spirit realm, you are recognized. So when you walk through your day, carry that awareness heaven knows your name. When you feel invisible, remember the angels that whisper it in worship. When loneliness grips, recall that the King himself speaks it with affection. You are not forgotten, not for a moment. And when the wind brushes against your skin, pause. That might not be coincidence. It might be heaven passing by, repeating your name once more, ensuring that creation remembers the one chosen for such a time as this. You are not a number in the multitude, you are a name in the mouth of God, and when He speaks it, the universe listens. Chosen one. There are moments when the veil between seen and unseen grows thin, moments when what once confused you begins to make sense. Heaven allows these unveilings not to overwhelm you, but to reveal that your pain was never pointless. The fog begins to lift, and you realize that every attack, every delay, every closed door was training. You were not being punished, you were being prepared. What you called chaos was heaven's choreography. The steps were unpredictable, but the rhythm was perfect. The pain was placement, it positioned you where purpose could find you. You thought God was silent, but He was writing. You thought heaven was still, but it was setting the stage. Chosen one. The lifting of the veil is happening now. The things that once hurt you are revealing their hidden purpose. You're beginning to see that some losses were actually protection, that some delays were divine redirection, that some endings were heaven's way of making room for beginnings you couldn't yet imagine. When heaven removes the veil, perspective changes. You stop asking why me and start whispering thank you. You realize that rejection was a doorway to redirection. That loneliness taught you how to hear the voice of God without distortion. Every unanswered prayer now looks like mercy in disguise. The ancient truth is spoken in the first letter to the Corinthians, chapter 2, verse 9. No eye has seen, no ear has heard, and no mind has conceived what God has prepared for those who love Him. That scripture was never meant to sound mysterious, it was meant to sound hopeful. It means there are things God has prepared for you that even your imagination cannot contain. You have only seen fragments, but heaven holds the full picture. The lifting of the veil reveals hints of that glory, glimpses of that promise. Look back at what once broke you and see how it shaped you. Look at what you lost and notice what grew in its place. The darkness you walked through taught you how to carry light. The silence you endured sharpened your discernment. The tears you shed became oil for your anointing. Every hardship turned into an ingredient for destiny. And now, heaven whispers, do you see it now? The veil lifts slowly, lovingly, revealing that even the wilderness was sacred ground. The very place you cursed became the soil of your calling. The people who walked away were never meant to stay for this chapter. The heartbreak that nearly ended you became the heartbeat of your purpose. You thought you were forgotten, but heaven was framing your future behind the curtain. The veil doesn't just lift to reveal purpose, it lifts to reveal identity. You are not a victim of life's storms. You are a vessel of divine resilience. You were never meant to blend in. You are a carrier of secrets heaven entrusts only to those who endure the fire. When you speak now, your words carry the weight of revelation because you've lived the mystery. This is the hour of unveiling, and with it comes understanding, peace, and renewed vision. You will begin to recognize that some of your deepest wounds are now healing others. What you carried in silence will soon be your testimony in power. The veil has been lifted and light rushes in not to blind you, but to show you who you've become. The enemy tried to convince you that God was done with you, but the truth is God was developing you. Every unanswered season, every long wait, every hidden chapter, He was refining gold under pressure. And now, as clarity dawns, you can see that the attacks weren't winning. They were revealing your strength. The curtain has parted and you're standing in the light of revelation. What once hurt now teaches. What once threatened now testifies. The mystery is becoming message. And now, as a prophetic sign that you see clearly, that the veil has lifted from your life, type 555 below. Why 555? Because it symbolizes divine grace multiplied. Grace that opens your eyes to see what was hidden. When you comment that number, you declare, my vision is restored. I see purpose where I once saw pain. I understand that heaven never forgot me. The veil has lifted, chosen one, and beyond it lies everything you were promised. Chosen one. There comes a sacred moment in every divine journey when heaven lays something new upon your shoulders, a mantle, woven not from fabric but from fire and faith. It is the mantle of overcomers. You do not earn it by perfection. You inherit it through perseverance. It is given to those who have wrestled with storms, wept through nights, yet refused to surrender their crown. This mantle is not light. It carries the weight of responsibility, of compassion, of revelation. It is the garment of those who have been broken and remade. When heaven places it upon you, it feels like both burden and blessing. You sense the power in it, but also the humility it demands. For those who wear the mantle of overcomers do not boast they serve. They remember the pit they were pulled from, and they reach back for others. There was a time when you thought your pain would destroy you. You could not see that it was shaping the shoulders that would one day bear this very weight. The fire you endured was heaven's tailor shop, crafting a garment that could not be burned. The tears you shed washed it clean before it was even given. Now it rests upon you, shimmering with the proof that you survived what was meant to end you. Heaven does not waste pain, it refines it. And those refined by fire carry authority in realms where others fear to step. That authority is not loud, it is quiet, steady, rooted. The moment you put on the mantle, everything in the spirit recognizes it. Angels see it and align, darkness sees it and flees. The earth itself responds differently to your footsteps because you now walk in conquest, not confusion. It is written in the book of Revelation, chapter 3, verse 21, to the one who is victorious. I will give the right to sit with me on my throne, just as I was victorious and sat down with my Father on his throne. That promise is not distant. It begins now. Victory is not only an ending, it's a posture. It is how you sit in your spirit, even while storms still rage. To sit with him means to rest in the authority of his finished work. The mantle you wear is evidence of that rest. Chosen one. You have crossed from surviving into reigning. You are no longer reacting to warfare, you are ruling from within it. Your prayers no longer sound like panic. They sound like decrees. You speak not as a victim pleading for rescue, but as a vessel commanding light. The mantle gives your words gravity because they flow from experience, not theory. And with this new mantle comes discernment. You begin to see through people, through moments, through motives. Not to judge, but to guard what's sacred. Your eyes carry a depth they did not have before, the depth of one who has seen both the pit and the palace, the storm and the sunrise. Heaven trusts such eyes, for they no longer see through ego but through empathy. The mantle of overcomers is also woven with intercession. Those who wear it cannot ignore the cries of others. Your heart will begin to ache for those still walking where you once walked. That ache is holy. It is the pulse of heaven moving through you. It will compel you to speak when silence feels safer, to pray when words feel small, to stand when others fall. You become a living bridge between despair and deliverance. Do not fear this new weight. It is not meant to crush you. It is meant to confirm you. The mantle rests only on those strong enough to carry compassion without pride. wisdom without arrogance, authority without oppression. You are one of them. Heaven chose you not because you never fell, but because you always rose. Now, as you stand clothed in this invisible fire, know that you are being commissioned. The mantle marks the end of your testing season and the beginning of your leadership season. You are now a forerunner, a carrier of endurance, a vessel of victory. When you walk, others will follow, drawn by the fragrance of triumph that clings to you. Chosen one, feel it, the warmth upon your shoulders, the peace within your chest, the still power humming through your hands. This is not imagination. This is heaven's affirmation. You wear what many never endure long enough to receive. You have been forged into testimony, crowned in purpose, mantled with glory. You are no longer who you were. You are an overcomer, and the heavens know your name. Chosen one. Fear used to know your name. It used to visit you in the quiet, creep into your mind at night, and sit on your chest like an invisible weight. It whispered that you would fail, that you would never change, that you were unworthy of peace. It mocked your prayers and questioned your worth. But something has shifted. The fear that once ruled you now trembles when it senses your presence. You no longer walk in the same atmosphere. The same corners that once felt haunted by anxiety now hum with calm. The same thoughts that once spiraled into panic now find rest. Fear, once bold, now hides. It recognizes what you carry light, and light exposes every lie. You did not learn this peace from the world. You learned it in battle. Every sleepless night trained your spirit to recognize the difference between the voice of fear and the voice of God. Fear thrives in darkness, but you live in illumination. You have walked through the valley of uncertainty and discovered that courage is not the absence of trembling. It is the choice to move forward while trembling. Courage is not loud. It doesn't always roar. Sometimes it simply whispers, "I'm still here," and that whisper has become your anthem. You have faced what terrified you and lived. You have spoken truth when silence would have been safer. You have confronted patterns of pain that ran through generations and said, "It stops with me." Fear has lost its dominion because you learned its secret. Fear only survives where love is absent, and you are now saturated in love. The Apostle Paul revealed the antidote long ago, and its echo still shatters the darkness. It was proclaimed in the second letter to Timothy, chapter 1, verse 7. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. Power, love, and soundness. These are your inheritance. Fear was never a part of heaven's design for you. It was a counterfeit spirit sent to distract you from destiny. But you've exposed it. You've learned that fear is an illusion, a shadow that cannot exist where light stands. The moment you step into awareness of divine love, fear dissolves like mist under morning sun. Now, fear sees you and flees. It remembers the authority you discovered when you stopped running and started resting. You no longer fight from panic, you fight from peace. That is why the enemy has grown quiet. He has no weapon against someone who refuses to fear. You carry peace now, and peace is not passive. It is armor. It wraps around your thoughts like steel, guards your emotions like walls, and steadies your hands when everything else shakes. People will feel it when you enter a room. They won't understand why, but the atmosphere will settle. Because peace is contagious, and yours is divine. There was a time when you asked God to remove the fear, but instead of erasing it, He taught you to dominate it. You learned to walk through it until it had no power left. That's the higher way, the transformation from hunted to hunter, from trembling to triumph. You now carry the authority to silence storms in others, not just your own. Fear once chained your voice, but now your words carry liberation. You speak, and others feel courage rise. You pray, and the air shifts. You stand, and people sense permission to stand beside you. This is not pride. It is presence, the presence of peace learned through war. Chosen one, look how far you've come. You once feared the future, but now you shape it. You once hid from confrontation, but now you command clarity. You once doubted your worth, but now you see it written across your life in the ink of divine faithfulness. You have become proof that love always wins over fear. So when fear tries to whisper again, remember it is not a sign of failure. It is a sign of recognition. It remembers the authority that cast it out. It knows your name and trembles at the sound of it. You are not who you were when fear last knew you. You have become light incarnate, calm embodied, courage made visible. There will still be moments that test your peace, but now you know where to stand inside the love that fear cannot enter. You do not need to chase safety. You are safety. Wherever you go, fear cannot dwell. The fear that once followed you now flees before you. You walk surrounded by power, wrapped in love, guarded by divine clarity. You are no longer the hunted, you are the light that ends the hunt. Chosen one, heaven does not wait for storms to end before it crowns its warriors. The crown is not a trophy given after calm returns, it is placed in the midst of thunder, while lightning still dances across the sky. You have been crowned in the storm. The very winds that once threatened to break you now carry your victory song. God never needed the storm to stop to prove his faithfulness. He needed you to stand, and you did. The crown placed upon you is invisible to the eyes of flesh, but radiant in the spirit. It glows with resilience, humility, and fire. It says, "This one remained faithful in the rain." You thought heaven's reward would come when the sun returned. But no. Heaven rewards you in the wind, in the tears, in the moments you kept walking though your feet bled. The king does not wait for perfect conditions to honor his chosen ones. He crowns you in motion while the waves still roar, to show creation that obedience outruns chaos. As the Apostle Peter wrote in his first letter, in the first book of Peter, chapter 5, verse 4, "And when the chief shepherd appears, you will receive the crown of glory that will never fade away." Chosen one, you wear that crown now. Every hardship you endured polished it. Every prayer whispered in pain set another gem in its rim. It is not a decoration, it is identification. It marks you as one who overcame what was meant to overcome you. The storm was not your undoing, it was your coronation. And yet, in this holy moment, heaven also asks something of you: to live crowned but humble, honored but compassionate, victorious yet still kind. The greater the crown, the softer the heart must become. Kings and queens of heaven are not defined by thrones but by how they carry mercy. As you stand in this new strength, let gratitude guide you. Gratitude turns crowns into conduits when you give thanks. The light of that crown shines brighter, touching others who still wander in rain. When you share your story, you share your spark. This is why sharing these messages matters. When you like them, you amplify their reach the same way a candle doubles its light by touching another wick. When you share, it's not about spreading content. It's about extending comfort. Somewhere, someone is holding on by a thread, and your small act becomes the wind that lifts them. When you subscribe, you are not following an algorithm, you are aligning yourself with a stream of encouragement, a voice that reminds you of who you are when the world forgets. You're saying, "I will keep returning to the well where heaven speaks." And if your heart moves you to donate, do so as if planting an orchard in unseen soil. You may never taste every fruit, but generations will, Every seed you sow keeps the message flowing, keeps the light burning, keeps the weary finding strength. It isn't about transaction, it's about transformation. Your generosity becomes the bridge that carries hope further than any single voice could. And yes, take a moment to comment below, not out of obligation, but as a way of joining the conversation heaven is having through these words. Your reflection might be the line that helps another soul exhale. Your gratitude might remind someone that they, too, are crowned in the storm. Words have power, and community multiplies it. You are now walking testimony that endurance is stronger than fear, that love is louder than thunder. You've proven that faith doesn't need calm waters, it just needs a willing heart. Your crown shines not because of what you gained, but because of what you refuse to lose: your trust, your worship, your hope. The storm may still murmur, but it no longer threatens you. You stand in the eye of it, calm and radiant, the crown steady on your head. Heaven smiles because this is what victory looks like: not absence of struggle, but authority within it. Chosen one, the crown fits you perfectly. You have been anointed in rain, tested in fire, and confirmed in love. Carry it with grace, walk as royalty, speak as mercy, live as light, and let every heartbeat remind you the storm did not end you, it enthroned you. Chosen one, when heaven crowns a soul, it never leaves that soul idle. The moment your spirit was marked by victory, divine orders began to move toward you. You may not have heard them yet, but they are being whispered even now. New marching orders, these are not commands born of pressure or fear, but of purpose. They come wrapped in peace, saturated in clarity, glowing with destiny. You are no longer the same as when your journey began. You once prayed for survival, but now you are called to leadership. You once asked for deliverance, but now you are entrusted with delivering others. Heaven does not waste its overcomers. When you rose from the ashes, God saw not just your healing, but your readiness. The world around you may still look unchanged, yet everything within you has shifted. You now carry divine authority in your voice and holy fire in your hands. You have been refined into someone the darkness recognizes and avoids. The same spiritual ground where you once stumbled has become the territory you now guard. Chosen one, the time for hiding has ended. Heaven has not restored you for retreat, but for assignment. You will find that your steps are guided, even when the path looks unfamiliar. You will sense divine nudges and impulse to speak encouragement to a stranger, to pray for someone's healing, to stand in intercession when others fall silent. Those impulses are not coincidence. They are commands wrapped in compassion. The words of Christ in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 28, verses 19 and 20, still resound today. Go therefore and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, teaching them to observe all things that I have commanded you. And surely I am with you always, even to the end of the age. That commission was never limited to the apostles of old. It lives in you now. The same Spirit that descended on them moves through your veins, empowering you to bring light into corners that have forgotten it. You are not merely called to attend miracles, you are called to become one. New marching orders rarely come with detailed maps. Heaven prefers trust over control. You will be guided step by step, and the path will unfold as you move. That is why obedience matters more than understanding. Each act of faith opens a door that intellect could never locate. You will learn to walk by divine instinct, sensing when to move, when to speak, when to wait. Do not fear the unfamiliar terrain. Your feet have been anointed for this journey. Where others sink, you will stand. Where others wander, you will discern direction. The path of the chosen is never crowded because few endure the process required to see it. But you did. You endured the waiting, the breaking, the rebuilding, and now you walk in commissioning. This season will test your sensitivity to heaven's rhythm. You will need to listen closely, not to noise, but to nuance. God will not always shout. Sometimes he will whisper through impressions, through dreams, through divine coincidences that tug at your peace. Train your heart to recognize that stillness. Every new order begins in quiet revelation before it manifests in motion. And remember, authority without humility leads to ruin. That is why heaven waited until compassion outweighed ambition before handing you these orders. The mantle you wear is not for dominance, but for deliverance. You carry light, not spotlight. You lead not by force, but by presence. Chosen one, the orders are clear. Go where light is absent. Speak where silence has reigned. Lift those bowed by burdens you understand too well. You are heaven's answer to someone else's prayer. What you survived has now become your assignment. Do not measure your impact by applause. Measure it by transformation. Every life you touch will become another ripple in the great sea of redemption. You may never see the full extent of your influence, but heaven will. And every obedient step will echo through eternity. When you wake tomorrow, do so with awareness you walk under orders sealed by the King. Angels travel with you. Doors that once resisted you will now respond. The earth itself recognizes your authority. This is not the end of your story, it is the beginning of your service. The battle trained you, the pain purified you, the crown confirmed you, but these new marching orders they send you, walk forward, chosen one. The commander of heaven's armies marches with you. Chosen one. There comes a final act in every divine story, not an ending, but a sealing. Heaven never closes a chapter without leaving its mark upon the one who lived it. What you are walking into now is not uncertainty, it is the certainty of being sealed. The battles have shaped you, the storms have refined you, and now heaven presses its seal upon your destiny, declaring that nothing on earth or in the spirit can undo what God has decreed over your life. This seal is not seen with human eyes, yet all of creation recognizes it. It glows in the spirit like fire hidden beneath skin. It carries authority, it carries peace, it carries proof that you belong not to circumstance, not to fear, not to failure, but to heaven itself. You have been stamped with divine ownership, marked by grace and claimed for glory. The Apostle Paul wrote of this sacred assurance in his letter to the Philippians, chapter 1, verse 6. Being confident of this, that he who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus. Those words are the seal itself. What was started in you cannot be left unfinished. You are not an abandoned project. You are a completed promise still unfolding. Every season, joyful or painful, was part of heaven's craftsmanship. Each detail brushed by divine precision. There were days you thought the work was ruined. Days when you felt so fragmented you believed destiny had slipped through your fingers. But what you saw as brokenness, God saw as blueprints. The fragments were never lost. They were being rearranged into something far stronger, far more radiant. Heaven was not rebuilding you, it was revealing you. The seal on your destiny also means this: your identity is untouchable. The enemy can distort perception, but he cannot alter truth. He can lie about who you are, but he cannot rewrite heaven's decree. You are sealed with permanence. That means your value no longer fluctuates with success or failure. You cannot be unchosen. You cannot be unloved. You cannot be unseen. Think of how seals worked in ancient times. A king would press his emblem into hot wax, and that mark carried legal authority. Anyone who tried to tamper with it faced judgment. That same principle exists now in the unseen world. The King of Heaven has pressed his emblem into your spirit. Every dark force recognizes it. They cannot cross the boundary it forms. You are protected by decree, not by chance. This seal is not just protection, it is empowerment. It gives you boldness to walk into places once closed to you, to speak words once buried by fear, to live fully without apology. It releases you from the need to prove yourself, because the one who called you has already approved you. The work is not just ongoing, it is guaranteed. Chosen one. The seal of heaven also signifies completion, not the end of motion, but the fulfillment of purpose. You have moved through fire and flood, through silence and song, and come out as proof that endurance leads to establishment. You no longer live searching for identity, you live expressing it. You no longer beg for purpose, you embody it. You are the living evidence of what divine persistence looks like in human form. The seal upon you will now draw things aligned with destiny. Right people, right places, right timing, all magnetized toward the mark of heaven on your life. You will find yourself walking into divine appointments that seem accidental but are orchestrated. The seal acts like a beacon. Heaven recognizes you and the earth responds. There is nothing left to fear. The future is not uncertain, it is unfolding exactly as written. Even when detours appear, the seal ensures you end where you are meant to. You are not wandering, you are being led. The spirit within you is both compass and guarantee. And so, stand still for a moment. Chosen one, feel the weight of peace settling over you. That is the seal, heaven's final confirmation that the war is over and the victory is yours. You are no longer a seeker of approval, you are a carrier of completion. You have been sealed by fire, confirmed by promise, and released into destiny. The mark upon you declares, it is finished. No curse, no voice, no power can reverse it. Heaven's seal rests upon you and eternity recognizes your name. The work begun in you is now unstoppable. The story written through you is now eternal. You are sealed, forever chosen, forever complete. The heavens grow quiet now. Chosen one. The script of your awakening has been spoken and the fire of purpose burns steady within you. You have walked through darkness and discovered light, endured storms and found your crown, received your mantle and your marching orders. Now the seal of heaven glows upon your life, declaring you complete, called unstoppable. And yet this is not the end. It is the continuation of divine movement through you. The same spirit that carried these words into your heart will keep breathing through every step ahead. Let them remain alive, shared, spoken, remembered. When you like this message, it's not vanity, it's resonance, a way of saying, I heard heaven here. When you share, you release light into timelines that need it. When you subscribe, you join a circle of faith that keeps growing stronger. A family of chosen ones learning to hear the same voice. Take a moment to comment below, not out of routine, but as testimony. Your reflection may be the word someone else prayed for tonight. You are part of this story now, and heaven delights when its echoes reach every corner of the earth. This is your moment, carry the flame forward.